On a night marred by Netflix buffering issues and poor streaming quality, Jake Paul did what many expected and defeated the legendary Mike Tyson in an 8-round boxing match on Friday in Arlington, Texas. Jake Paul won the fight on the judges' scorecards. The bout itself was devoid of any firefights between the two or even signature moments. The 58-year-old Tyson, who fought with a knee brace on his right leg, slowed as the fight went on, as did Paul. The crowd responded in kind, booing in frustration as the fight developed. Perhaps the bigger story of the night were the issues the streaming giants had, starting with the Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor co-main event rematch. Users on social media complained loudly about experiencing problems with buffering, unavailable video, and the video quality itself, a narrative Netflix didn't want to deal with as their NFL Christmas Day games approach, in addition to the launch of WWE in January. However, it should be noted that the amount of viewers worldwide for the Tyson versus Paul fight was considerably more than the NFL or WWE are expected to garner. During his post-fight promo, Jake Paul referenced 120 million viewers, but that has not yet been verified as of this video. Mike Tyson declined to announce his retirement, with Jake's brother Logan Paul offering to fight Mike Tyson next, which the legend quickly agreed to. The rules were 8 2-minute rounds with 14-ounce gloves, 4 ounces bigger than the usual heavyweight fights. Perhaps the most viral moment of the night was Mike Tyson doing a backstage interview, walking away and showing his bare behind in an unintended moment of hilarity. It was Tyson's first fight of any kind since a November 2020 exhibition boxing bout with Roy Jones Jr., which was preceded by a 15-year gap of inactivity. On to our next story. As mentioned during an interview last week, Vince McMahon remains as a TKO shareholder, with an SEC regulatory filing Thursday showing just how much he still owns. In an SEC 13G filing, Vince McMahon's current allotment sits at a little over 8 million shares as of September 30th of this year. The reason for the filing is that he exceeds 5% ownership of a specific class of stock, which requires disclosure. In this case, his shares account for 9.88% of Class A stock, but his portion of all TKO shares remains under 5%. He has no voting rights. Vince McMahon remains under federal investigation following the Wall Street Journal exposed hush money scandal, with the current sexual misconduct lawsuit against him by Janelle Grant put on pause as the federal case continues. Reports have recently emerged that Vince McMahon is preparing to launch an entertainment company that includes several former WWE executives. On to our next story. Becky Lynch could be close to ending her pro wrestling hiatus. PW Insider reports that sources within WWE and Netflix have stated that Becky Lynch is expected to be back in the mix with the company by the time Raw premieres on Netflix in January 2025. Becky Lynch has been away from WWE since late May, with her contract expiring at the start of June. At the time, it was expected that Becky Lynch would be taking an extended break from the ring before eventually returning. During an appearance on the Games with Names podcast over the summer, Becky said she was enjoying her time away from the ring and had many options on the table for her future. A return would mean that WWE and Becky have agreed on a new contract for her. WWE Raw will premiere on Netflix starting with the Monday, January 6, 2025 episode of the show. The location has not yet been officially announced, but the newly opened Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California has been the rumored venue for the episode. Moving on to some SmackDown highlights. The bracket for the WWE Women's United States Championship Tournament has been revealed. Triple H on social media shared a photo of the bracket shortly before SmackDown on Friday. The first ever champion will be crowned at Saturday night's main event on December 14th. The first tournament bout took place on SmackDown, with Bayley defeating B-Fab and Candice LeRae in a 3-way match. Bayley will now advance to the semi-finals, where she will face the winner of a match between Bianca Belair, Chelsea Green, and Blair Davenport. The other side of the bracket has Jade Cargill taking on Michin and Piper Niven, while the fourth and final of the opening round has Naomi taking on Tiffany Stratton and Elektra Lopez. WWE unveiled the new championship on last week's SmackDown. It is unknown if WWE plans to follow through with a women's intercontinental title for Raw. A women's North American title was recently established in NXT, with Kalani Jordan becoming the first champion earlier this year. Shinsuke Nakamura is back and he has a target. SmackDown saw Shinsuke Nakamura made his WWE television return by attacking LA Knight, who had just successfully defended the United States title against Berto in an open challenge match. Shinsuke Nakamura sported a new look, wearing all black and wearing red face paint as he laid out LA Knight with the Kinshasa. The segment ended with Nakamura walking away, his hair covering his face. He had disappeared from WWE television since April, when he was moved back to SmackDown as part of the 2024 WWE Draft. He did, however, work house shows over the summer in the US, Japan, and Europe. Last month, he lost to Knight during WWE's tour in England in matches that were for the United States title. It was announced last month that Shinsuke Nakamura would be returning to Pro Wrestling Noah on January 1st. He previously worked for Noah back in 2023 when he defeated the Great Muta. The undisputed WWE champion will go face-to-face with his likely next challenger on next week's SmackDown. WWE champ Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens will go face-to-face on next week's episode in a segment set up during this week's SmackDown. Cody Rhodes came to the ring and called out Kevin Owens, but SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis entered and told Cody Rhodes that Kevin Owens crossed the line when he gave Randy Orton a piledriver last week. Nick Aldis said that Kevin Owens had to be kept away from the building for everyone's safety. In response, Cody Rhodes implored Aldis to take the ball that he was leaving in his court and set up a meeting with Kevin Owens. Kevin was shown responding in a video promo posted to social media where he said that he was turned away from the building, but because the Golden Boy Cody Rhodes asked for the meeting, Nick Aldis told Kevin Owens he was needed at the show next week.
It's getting harder and harder to do my job because I keep suffering consequences for things that are absolutely not my fault. I showed up to the arena in Milwaukee earlier and I was turned away. I was told that I'm not welcome there and that I had to leave because of what I did to Randy Orton last week. But what I did to Randy Orton last week was I did my job. See, because I made it clear before Crown Jewel that I didn't want to fight Randy Orton. I didn't want to hurt Randy Orton. And then Randy went to WWE officials. He went to Triple H himself and demanded a match with me. And he got what he wanted. I showed up at Crown Jewel like I was asked and did my job. I did exactly what they knew was going to happen. I did precisely what Triple H tried to warn Randy Orton of. And again, last week, all I did was do what they asked me to do because Randy showed up, called me out to the ring, and then I showed up. And now I'm in trouble because I put Randy Orton on the shelf. That is absolute nonsense. It's not fair. But guess what the best part is? Just now, a few minutes ago, I got a call from Nick Aldis asking me to be at SmackDown in Salt Lake City next Friday. And why? Because the little golden boy, Cody Rhodes, wants me there. Oh my God, Cody wants me there. I have to be there, right? Can't disappoint Cody Rhodes. Well, you know what, Cody? I shouldn't show up. But I will. I'll be there. Not for you. Not for Nick Aldis. Not even for WWE because they hardly deserve me at this point. I'm going to show up next week for myself. Because I happen to love Utah, the mountains, the fresh air, all that stuff. It's good for me. But everyone needs to remember one thing. When I show up next Friday, I'm just doing what you all want me to do. I'm just doing my job.
On to our next story. Former multi-time TNA X Division champion Speedball Mike Bailey is expected to sign with AEW following the expiration of his TNA wrestling deal earlier this month. Our own Brian Alvarez confirmed an earlier report from PW Insider that Bailey's TNA deal was done as of November 1st. Fightful later reported on Bailey's next expected destination as AEW. Mike Bailey filed trademarks on his name this month and finished up at the recent Detroit set of the TNA tapings, where he lost his X Division title to Moose in a bout that aired last Thursday. Mike Bailey previously agreed to a deal with WWE 3 years ago, but he had said the company then went in a different direction despite him wanting to sign.
Not in any concrete way. You know, of course, like I said, a lot of people that I was with in PWG were getting signed, and like in 2016, I knew a lot of people there, and there were like discussions, but there kind of always are. You know, you always hear rumblings, and I never know how much of that is true. So that's always a weird thing. I've heard people say that people have said that someone said that they were definitely going to sign me, and I mean, I don't know how much that's worth.
The Fightful report did not indicate when Mike Bailey was expected to sign and when he might start, but he is clear to do so whenever he chooses. The 34-year-old wrestles frequently on the indies, appearing for GCW, Maple Leaf Pro, Deadlock, and Wrestling Revolver, in addition to TNA in the last month alone. On to our next story. 3 wrestlers have advanced to the Iron Survivor Challenge. So Ruka, Wesley, and Javon Evans have all qualified for the 5-way matches that will take place at NXT's next premium live event, Deadline, on December 7th. So Ruka was the first to advance to the Women's Iron Survivor match after defeating Cora Jade with the Soul Snatcher to score an upset win. Wesley followed that by defeating Cedric Alexander in a second qualifier, earning a spot in the men's match. The third and final match saw Javon Evans defeat Lexus King after hitting a springboard spinning splash. Throughout the show, the likes of Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, and Jada Parker all expressed interest in winning the Iron Survivor Challenge. It was announced that more qualifying matches would take place on next week's show. The winners of these matches next month will earn future NXT and NXT women's title matches, respectively. And on to our next story. Liv Morgan is interested in doing more acting work. The WWE Women's World Champion has IMDb credits already for her role in 2023's The Kill Room, as well as an episode of Chucky in 2022, the TV series based off the popular Child's Play horror franchise. Liv recently told Yahoo Sports that she's interested in more acting roles and WWE is supporting her doing so, to which she said, "I think these crossover opportunities are amazing. It brings new viewers to each of these products that are involved. I audition regularly. I would love to be involved in more film, television, media. I just want to see what I can do in that space. And for WWE to be involved in that and to be supportive of that and to be helping me, guide me through all of that is really amazing and cool too. But I just want to see what I can do." Liv Morgan was killed off in an episode of Chucky she was featured in, having been stabbed by the murderous doll himself. The show was recently canceled after 3 seasons, but Liv Morgan isn't sure we've seen the last of Chucky. To which she said, "I'm so happy that I got to be murdered by Chucky. We are friends till the end, and I'm sure this is not the last we will see of him." That's a wrap for this episode of The Latest. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful.